What's up, guys, and welcome to IV Society. And we are now gonna look at gold, Bitcoin, GU. Look at if these are the good pairs to trade as of now. First, I'm at gold, so we're gonna check the daily. As we can see, gold is nearing to validate that cluster, that pending cluster that is gonna be confirmed right over here. So right now we have one demand zone formed here. This is a much more larger demand zones. So considering this is a huge zone, this whole area is a huge zone. So this is the most valid and complete demand zone as of now that formed inside the zone. So inside the zone we have a retracement. So basically that's a reaccumulation, and once we confirm a high right over here, once we confirm this high, then this is a valid cluster. But as of now, as we see this, so we have on the much more lower time frames, such as 1 hour or 2 hour or 30 minutes. If we zoom, if we change into that time frame, basically we have a demand zone here inside this. So if we change perspective, if we change the time frame, we're going to see a much more volatile price action. But the fact that there are multiple demand zones that is forming right over here, so it formed there. So basically we have demand zone, demand 1, and then we have a demand 2, and then a much more bigger reaccumulation. So currently we have a demand right over here. So if we are to confirm this high to have a much more longer time frame or higher time frame outlook of demand zone, then we should respect this cluster formed here and bounce off the EMAs and then confirm it. So once it has been confirmed, I'm expecting impulse of price to draw like 3 times of this range. So if we have this range, then we might have 3 times over the size of the range. So that's the projection of where the price is supposed to go if it's gonna be running up for bullish. I expect now in gold, so changing time frames to 1 hour, this is the accumulation, so we might hold in this zone right here. But perspective candlestick base, how the candlestick currently prints at my face right now. So we have a huge sideways movement of price hit over here. So considering this is a 1 hour, so let's move an hour higher. So 3 hours, 4 hours. This sort of sideways movement right over here is a strong signal of demand zone once it has been confirmed or verified or validated. So this would be a strong area of demand zone. If we validate this high, so this can hold with the EMAs, of course, and then push higher. So we might see an entry right within this week. And then moving on to Bitcoin, because I only watch Bitcoin and gold. So in Bitcoin, I have a currently running trade. How did I ended up with this trade? So basically I'll just reset chart, and then you see this bounce. So once I am in that bounce earlier, so looking at 5 minutes, because I'm looking at a 30-minute bounce. So moving down to the 5 minute, I've seen a potential reaccumulation. So as you can see, we're about to complete this high, and we just move from this zone, from this high, and I've seen the reaccumulation inside the zone. So I was like, this is a current trend, and we came off from a demand, basically from a cluster. We reaccumulated inside the cluster, and same cluster that we reaccumulated into. So yeah, basically once I saw price moving inside here, and then considering that we are now in completion of these clusters, of these reaccumulations, right? We just completed that, and we completed the highs. So we might hold for a bit moment. So what I mean by that is price can still move down and move up, but as of this current moment, price cannot move down. So that's what I'm capitalizing right now. So moving up to the 30 minutes where I've seen the price bounce. So basically I've seen the price bounce here. So I'm waiting for price to liquidate this high. So basically that's like That's like 10.3 R from my entry. So what I'm doing now is basically I'm at break even at my trade, because my trade is at 1 minute. So as you can see, as we progress to the entry time frame, you already know why did I enter this. So basically the entry came off from here, from this bounce on the 1 minute. So of the 1 minute bounce, I've seen the price went here, so I just considered this whole zone, right? I've considered that whole zone. I didn't buy stuff from here because price can still play around and then move up. So I considered this whole zone. So this is what I buy stop, and then stops is right below the lows. So yeah, right now we're here, and if I am to get asked what's my current outlook on this trade, so basically my trade right now is I'm at +1. I'm already at +1 break even, and my stops is right inside this low for about 30 pips. Yep, and then my entry is right above here with the spread. This is the true entry based on what I've seen on the 5 minute, because it's all the same things. After confirmation here, price went above, and then we retrace inside, and once price went above the EMAs, then I was like, price will not go down, and if it's gonna go down, then it's basically just gonna look for much more zones of demand that is not mitigated. But if price went up just like what it did here, then I'm up basically like 4R right now. Yep. And my stops is right below this low, 1R. So if price goes down there, I'm close 1R. But if price moves about 10R, then I'll just trail my stops. Basically, like on the lows it's gonna create here. So if price creates a low and then we reach the liquidity, basically I'm just gonna trail for that. And if price is gonna hold and still gonna go for a trend, another trend, then I'm gonna move my stops below until it fails. Or basically if it's still continuing, I'm trailing the stops to the lows, right? So basically that's what I'm gonna do. That's how I manage my trades, and I don't post my trades like this in YouTube before, but right now I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do to keep track of my trades and also show you guys that what I'm doing is effective and how to maximize if you are already doing what I do. So yeah, that's for Bitcoin. And then checking GBP USD, checking GU, looking at the 4-hour. Yes sir. So we came from this zone. So I've already called out this zone in GU Discord. Shout out Rach, shout out Bikan, Talk. I already posted that zone in the trade talk. I think I already called out this zone for GU. Basically that's because I just used the Fibonacci. So as you can see, Fibonacci matches the description. So I'm waiting for price to bounce off of that. So as you can see, price is now above the EMAs, and we just came off from a demand zone. So price can now play another trend here, but considering there's a bullish move already, so this could still happen for the demand 2.0, or yeah, or this one, but we might expect this because so it can still move like this. But if price just sustain the up moves, then I'll take advantage of that moves. So currently we're sitting at this EMAs that's likely to break. I think the price is heading toward this liquidity. I think price is heading towards this liquidity. And then 30 minutes. Yep, looking at the 30 minutes, price is already ready to liquidate that, because what I'm waiting for is another trend to that high, and then after that we already have a huge demand zone, right, where price can shift, play around in this whole zone, anywhere on that whole zone. So I might not be trading again for GU. When that happens, I'm gonna wait for another structure to print out and then draw another trend, because if I'm gonna zoom out, then another trend is already formed, and then I'm gonna take advantage of the bounces. So that's what we're gonna do. Now what I'm waiting for is the liquidity sweep of that high. Sweep that and then draw another reaccumulations. So we already covered GU, gold, Bitcoin. So let's add Ethereum, the one that's already been trending right now. So there's no shock on this impulse, because as we all know, when Bitcoin shoots up, the rest of other cryptocurrencies follows. So looking at the 4-hour liquidity, I think I already called that one as well in the trade doc. I just don't want to dig, but we already move up to that liquidity. So what I'm expecting for Ethereum right now is sustain it. Let's analyze it from here. So up until this point, this demand has been breached. So accumulations at this area, there are demand zones as well in that area, because if you look at here, we have multiple demand zones printed here. Demand zone, so multiple demand zones, right? So basically the wicks are also demand zones. So there are multiple demand zones, that's why price went there. Generally in this area, if we zoom in on that, so it went up here, as you can see guys, it went up there, closed, opened, and then went down there. We just liquidated or absorbed this low, but nonetheless that's a reaccumulation inside a demand zone. So zooming out again, once again zooming out, so we had that area, right? So that's where price pivoted after, in this area. Let's double ring load this to mark it as a institutional point. Double lows. So right after that we formed demand zones once again. So demand 1, demand 2, reaccumulation. This all the same guys. Even if I do not do that, I already understand that this reaccumulation is a sign for a reaccumulation. Okay, so this down move is a sign for accumulation. That's what I meant. So this is a reaccumulations. This one is a reaccumulation. This one is a whole reaccumulation. So right after that we had the demand zone printed and then reaccumulated once again in the demand zone. So basically retracement, right? So after that we sustained demands, as we can see, R, and then price went up to what? To liquidate this high, of course, because that's the high it wants to liquidate. So right after that we invalidated some demand zones. So this cluster of demand held for a bit and then got liquidated at this point. So let's double ring load that once again, because that might be the pivotal point. So basically this demand zone, bro, count my basically in this video, supposed to reach 100, if not 1,000. So that's where we reaccumulated, right? So once we reaccumulated that, and considering we liquidated some lows, so this is a demand 1. If we liquidated these lows, so basically that's demand 2. So we came off from a demand 1 because demand 1 could not be invalidated, right, to sustain the cluster. So that's the demand 1 we might be looking for. So it held in this zone. So price has no intention of going down if it's going up, because if it's going up, then there's no sense of printing this demand zone, and it should break that. That's all what I'm saying. If price will not sustain this trend, this uptrend, it would just basically invalidate everything here, and then we change perspective or change markets. So as we all know, price sustained because of those reaccumulations. See, that's the lesson for the day, guys. Lesson for the day. So right now, price is heading for this liquidity. Price is heading for liquidity at this point, and then that's what we are targeting, guys. So we might target this high for Ethereum, and then if it's bullish, bro, so it could get bullish once we validate that high. So if it's bullish, we might reach 2 to 3 of that zone, bro. If we manage to, if Ethereum managed to liquidate its own high, so it's signaling that it's a bullish market. So let's see where it wants to go. So let me use my fib again. If you want fib lessons, guys, I can definitely drop the Fibonacci lessons. I have my own Fibonacci. I don't use other YouTubers or other mentor. I've learned Fibonacci on my own and I applied it on my system on my own. So -3, -2. This is a Fibonacci retracement. It's not an extension. Yep. So if we look for the third of that fib, so let's move to weekly. So we might be looking at 19k for Ethereum in the future. So 1, 2, 3. So that's the third. That's the 3 times of its that's the thrice of its size. So from drawing onto that third, drawing that, so after we, let's say we already confirmed the trend, the upcoming trend, so it can still retrace and then work its way. So that's where variance plays now. So variance just shows how price can behave, the variance of how price can behave towards the target area, towards the POI of the price. So once again, guys, I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope all of our predictions are correct. If it's not, then I'm just simply wrong. Not the system is wrong, I'm just simply wrong. I'm the one wrong. It's my fault. So again, guys, thank you for watching and good luck on your trading. IVY Society, guys. Peace.